Welcome back, viewers. We thought we'll just kick off straight away after the previous introduction with the testimony of what has happened the last 12 months and what has led us to this day with David wearing the arm sling. And you'll see me sort of adjusting because his arm will get really sore very quickly. So it's not that we are fidgeting. It is just to keep David half comfortable. So we just wanted to let you know what that is about. So shall we start and say the last 12 months, shall we say December 2020 to December 2021, in that span of 12 months, there were four important dates for us. It was the 8th of December that you had the stent implant. It was the 8th of August, and then the previous 2 weeks leading up to that, and then the 7th of December this year. So did you want to talk to us about that and tell everybody what kind of happened on those days?
Yeah. Where do I start? So I started 12 months ago.
Yeah.
So David Wright 12 months ago was chairman of Hope Ministries.
You still are.
I still are.
You still am.
Yeah. And I went to your mum's 80th birthday, and I was wearing a blood pressure monitor to check my blood pressure because the doctor wanted me off some certain medications, which was great. Yes, the medications. I'm finally winning with the medications, Father. So, but alas, my blood pressure apparently was out of control because of being off the medications for a week. And during that time, I was given a CT scan, and it showed that my heart was working much harder than what it should do.
Sorry, was it a CT scan or an ECG?
Oh, ECG and a CT.
Oh, you had both.
Echo thing.
An echocardiogram.
Yeah, well, they put stuff on you. And ended up finding my way to with the cardiologist. And he basically said my blood pressure was the worst resting blood pressure he's ever seen in his 25 years of cardiology. And in fact, I should go home right now and not move. And if I didn't, he was going to admit me to hospital straight there and then. And I'm like, this can't be happening. And what do I tell Wanda, basically? And so
that's right. You hid that from me at first, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yes,
I kept that to myself because I thought I could solve it myself because David is always in control.
Yeah.
And that's the first secret that I'll probably talk to you about in a later podcast, is that David knows best.
Which is not the secret.
Not the secret, no. So anyway, fast track in Auckland Ascot Mercy Hospital, having in the cardiology operation theatre, having a cardiogram.
Angiogram,
and all these doctors and nurses. It's quite a little bit intimidating, but and then they said, well, looks like you need a stent. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not really, what does that mean type of thing. And I did know that something was wrong because I was breathless quite a bit, wasn't I? And thought, okay, had that, and that's not a major thing. You could recover after a couple of months or whatever. And
I think they said a stent is meant to increase your like, you shouldn't be as fatigued, and it shouldn't be you should improve. The symptoms should improve.
Definitely should improve.
Almost immediately they said your heart is now better, so you should be better. But that wasn't the case for you, was it?
No, so I struggled. We were in Tokoroa at the time, in my mum and dad's house in Tokoroa, and it's a big section, and I remember struggling around there, getting still breathless. And anyway, it took a couple of months to come right.
Didn't really come
didn't come. Well, I suppose it didn't come right.
You learned to live with it.
Yes, So
sorry. I also just want to interrupt. The reason I'm helping David just remember is not because I'm trying to be. It's just that David his memory is not.
As good as probably.
After
what
the
it should
second
be.
stroke, his memory really got a bit
So, yeah.
affected. So I'm just trying for the viewers just to
But
remind him.
But it's great to be here, and it's great to talk. And if I'm
You're still doing very well.
if I'm still stuttering now and again, I do apologise to everybody. Anyway, so Cardi, so that was that was a stent, and that was in December. Up fast forward up to April, July.
So it was your birthday. You
my
turned
birthday,
60, yeah.
And we're going to have a 60th birthday celebration. Yay! 60! I reached 60, the glorious 60. That's great. And we had a great night that night. It was we had a small party, didn't we?
But we did have a bit of an argument. So I think it's important to say that you then in that time was diagnosed as being type 2 diabetic, because we had a bit of a...
Oh, no, not yet, because I went for...
no, because I didn't want to give you a birthday cake, remember?
Oh, that's right. So, during that time, sorry, everyone. During that time, that's right. In April, I think it was, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes when I went for a checkup for my for my stent. And I'm like, where did that, what's going on here? Okay. I can live with that. I can work, but because I did notice myself drinking lots of water,
still being fatigued, very fatigued,
but loads of fatigue, loads of water. In fact, but David knows best. There's another little secret in the garden of wisdom. So, but I know best. Just remember that. Anyway, 60th birthday comes along, having had a stent and now diagnosed with diabetes 2, because my marker went from 40. It
was 53 when they had it, but then it went up to 74, and that's when you realized you really have type 2 diabetes now. And so we had an argument about the cake. So for David and his family, traditionally there's a cake for a birthday, and I was saying the doctor had said for those next 2 weeks, or 6 weeks actually, he said, no sugar. So I was like, I don't think you can have a cake for your birthday. And David says, but I want a cake for my birthday. And he even got my mum jumping on the bandwagon, calling me saying, you can't not have David have a birthday cake. So this was a bit of a big deal for us. But in the end, David had a beautiful, beautiful birthday cake. However,
it was. I wish we could show you a picture, but it was a football birthday cake. It had
4 quadrants of
different
themes.
In New Zealand, because I used to work for Air New Zealand. Yes, me. I used to work for Air New Zealand. And then the other side
was faith in the Bible.
And the
last one, football.
I already said football. So
did you?
4. So for Air New Zealand, football.
Oh, the planets, the rockets.
Oh, NASA. Because I'm a NASA specialist.
You like space.
I know everything there is to know about space shuttle. Anyway, moving on. So beautiful cake.
In that 2 weeks after the 60th birthday.
And then I got put on metformin, a great big bucket of pills. I'm like, another pill. I just had to take 4 pills of those a day. Started taking 2 a day, and
didn't agree with you.
Didn't agree with me anyway. So that's fine. So fast forward to Saturday night, or Saturday, the 7th of August. And we Wanda's mum is 80 years of age, and she wasn't stable on her feet, and up to that stage, so I think she had a fall. And Wanda wanted me to go to
we wanted to go see her in Pukekohe.
And I was like, I don't know whether I can last that long, because of metformin now gives me,
the runs.
Yeah, and so I didn't really want to be in a situation of driving and then having to go to the toilet. So I decided that David Wright knew best. There's another secret. David Wright knew best, and he was going to stay at home. Anyway, Wanda convinced me right as she was about to go, basically.
Yeah, I just felt in my heart we shouldn't be separated.
This is in Tokoro, by the way.
We shouldn't be apart on that. I just felt, and I said to him, I really feel we shouldn't be apart that day. And the next morning you felt better and you drove us.
So I drove us up to Auckland, but just a little sidestep. We stopped off in T-Rail and had a cup of coffee with some friends, and I noticed. Well, I didn't notice, but I I told the friends, well, I asked the friends, when are you getting married? Now they'd been married for years, and it just happened that I asked them this question out of nowhere, and it seemed a bit strange, and we picked up on it, and I ended up apologising to them on the hands-free Bluetooth phone on the way to Auckland. So we get to Auckland, and this is while the Olympics are on. Yes, I'm a good New Zealand Olympic supporter, and I wanted to watch us on TV, which luckily we had a blow-up bed.
An inflatable bed.
Inflatable bed
Yeah.
at Wanda's house.
Wanda Mum's house.
Yeah, so I remember watching that and snuggling up to the dogs. They snuggled up, usual. Then come the morning. So come the morning, Wanda said she's going to vacuum the car. Well, I would wonder what a vacuum the car on a Sunday morning. What's the matter with her?
Because it was your Jaguar and you wanted it to remain nice and you like a clean car and it was annoying you, so I thought I'll do that for you.
Okay, and so I was laying in a bit, and while she was vacuuming the car, just typical bloke, the woman does all the work. You shouldn't say that. And anyway, she wanted me to put the plug in, of course. Put you on a port for me to turn the plug on, get up and turn the plug on for her. So I went to get the plug in, and I noticed I can't move hardly. Oh, that's got to be my back. Got it, because I've
pinched nerve,
back problem in 2015, as a lot of you from Hope Ministries know. And I could hardly move. I couldn't get the power to get up. Anyway, I said to Wanda, I've lost a bit of power. She said, well, I went to sit down again, and I thought I'll just sit down. Then she got grumpy with me still being in bed. Because, David, why don't you get up?
Oh, well, you could have at least folded some sheets, eh?
So she said, just have some breakfast and
see how it goes.
Yes, and so I stood up and had some breakfast and ate standing up, and I'm thinking, I don't feel that good. Anyway, she said, well, why don't you go and have a shower and then you'll probably feel better. Okay, so I trotted off into the shower.
Well, actually, I didn't want you to shower in case it was the pinch nerve and it was a spasm. Right. So I said, I won't be able to get you out of there. Have a wash, see how you feel. And then we ended up taking you to A&E.
So then I went to A&E, and then and it was a 3-hour wait. Well, what do we do here? I started to realize that the power in my leg and my arm was getting less and less. I'm sitting there in the waiting room looking at a baby, looking at a baby who smiled to me. I thought, that's what I do remember. And just as I'm sitting there, my
right side
of my mouth started to go numb. I'm thinking, that doesn't seem, there's something not quite right.
But he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything to me. So, of course, I didn't know. But luckily, what did happen was I did say to the ladies at reception that he is a cardiac patient. And so they did put us on the top of the triage list. But that did take 40 minutes. So in that 40 minutes, David developed loss of feeling on the right side of his face, but he didn't say anything. He only just said it to the nurse as we walked into the nurse's station, and she of course said, well, why didn't we call the ambulance? And I said, well, honestly, this is the first word that he's spoken about that. We thought it was a pinched nerve of his back. And then things really just escalated from there on out.
Found myself in an ambulance
on the way to Auckland Hospital.
Being rushed to Auckland Hospital, and then I don't remember too much after that. And I was diagnosed as having a stroke, and I didn't compute. No, David does not have a stroke because I know best.
Well, it's also your perception of what stroke patients were like, and you kind of many a time during that time when he looked back, he said to me, I thought this was the end. I actually thought that my time was up.
Yeah.
And he asked 4 times. He asked 4 different different times he asked the doctors, the neurologists, did I really have a stroke? He couldn't believe it.
It didn't sit with me that I'd actually had a stroke, and by this time I lost all my feeling on my right side of my body. Just basically cut my body in half, and one side's got the feeling, the other side, no one home. And I'm like, and I've gone from being fully functional to not functional at all, and I'm like, whilst I'm laying there, I'm like, well, Lord, what is happening? It's actually quite hard, because I was talking to the Lord, and then all of a sudden, it's like a door was left open, and all the fleshly world feelings of you're not going to make it, you're going to die, this is the end, you've run your race, and all your family has only ever lived till they haven't even seen 60, so you're the first one to do it, and that's your lot, basically. So there I was, lying in a high dependency unit in Hamilton Waikato Hospital, not being able to move, and faced with being able to be turned to hourly.
So sorry, this was Auckland Hospital. He was still in Auckland at the time.
Sorry, yeah. Auckland Hospital. Sorry.
Auckland Hospital.
Yeah. So sorry, I apologise for that, viewers, but sometimes you do forget those.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. So I think this is the end of little testimony for the last 12 months, part one. We will begin part two following on from here.
Yes, because
it's 16 minutes, we want to keep the podcast to a reasonable length, so you can do other things. And we just like to.
Well, maybe do you want to just say that there?
No, we'll follow on.
You want to do a full one?
Yeah,
okay,
we'll follow on. We'll let people have a break, and then you can check the part two when you're ready. That'd be great. So
okay, so we'll finish this podcast for now, and thank you for following up till now, and thank you for reliving that for us.
And remember, the secret of giving you a couple of tips there. The reason is I did it my way.
Yeah, you weren't in control. You felt the control was taken away from you.
My control is all of a sudden gone. See you tomorrow.
We'll talk more about that and what the Lord had in store. And because I think that is quite important. Is this is the reflection that we want to share with you, is when we think we are in control and when we want to control everything, the Lord may have different plans. The scripture says, man plans his path, but God directs his steps. And this is something that David was about to learn very, very well. So we'll tell you more about that in part two. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.